Kid Cudi is one of hip-hop's most celebrated artists and perhaps one of music's as well. He first came up on the scene back in the early 2010s with mixtapes like A Kid Named Cudi, and then later dropping his classic albums Man on the Moon 1 and 2. He would have a rocky ride later on with various other underwhelming projects, battles with mental illness, and falling out with longtime industry friends such as Kanye. He would make an astounding comeback in 2018 with the albums Kids See Ghosts, which he made with Kanye West. In this album, Cudi would reach an artistic height and fulfill his potential, as well as overcome his battles with mental illness and mend his relationship with Kanye West. It's safe to say that Cudi is in a better place now than where he was in the mid to late 2010s. Following all of this, Kid Cudi teased Man on the Moon 3, and after a long time, it has finally dropped. Man on the Moon 3 is, as its name states, the third installment in the Man on the Moon series. In this album, we see Cudi live up to the typical tropes and styles we saw in the past albums, as well as him embracing the newer sounds and styles of today. He takes all of this to really give a grand experience and a majestic ride through his psyche, just like he did before. And this right here is Cudi's strength in all these albums, a ride through the psyche. Cudi has always been good at looking at his mental anguish and his issues with his mind and taking them and repackaging them and then delivering them as an epic odyssey, with the use of his lyrics, epic vocals, spacious and trippy melodies and sounds, and inspirational drums. Cudi understands that, like space, the mind is the final frontier. Just the way space can go on forever and is vast, expanding, and ultimately unknowable and exhilarating at the same time, so too is the mind. The mind is just like space in that it is just as spacious, vast, unknowable, and exhilarating and amazing. Cudi traverses through it like a man in space would, excited and terrified by its vastness, but at the same time pulled to explore it nonetheless. The Man on the Moon series sees Kid Cudi fighting his depression, night terrors, anxiety, and the destructive side of him that embellishes itself in substance abuse. On the first Man on the Moon, we see Cudi introduce us to his fantasies, his ambitions, and his dreams, as well as his struggles with his mental illness. On Man on the Moon 2, we see him expand upon this and show the destructive side of him through Mr. Rager, a darker side of him that comes up as a reaction and a way to deal with the mental anguish he suffers on a daily basis. He rages, does drugs, drinks, and escapes to all manner of destructive behavior as a means of coping and dealing with the pain. Man on the Moon 3 builds upon all of this and adds more to the story. Man on the Moon 3 is split into 4 acts. Act 1, Return to Madness, Act 2, The Rager, The Menace, and Act 3, Heart of Rose Gold, and Act 4, Powers. The first act is Cudi coming back to his terrors. Nightmares and issues once thought to have been put to bed are back to haunt once more. Act 2 is Cudi reacting to the night terrors the way he's always done. This is a natural habit, instinct almost. The mental issues come back and you react like you always did. This echoes the truth about substance abuse and mental illness and how people deal with it. It can be hard to break bad habits when it is so ingrained in your being after years of coping in a certain way. And Cudi is reacting like any drug addict or person would in that situation, with abuse and destructive behavior and thought patterns, which can further feed upon themselves and make the cycle bigger and almost unending. Then we get to Act 3, where Cudi faces his issues in a more healthy and introspective way. He comes to this part of the cycle one more time, and instead of falling to mistakes, he begins to make better decisions. In Act 4, we see Cudi assert his power and self once more in the face of his demons. He does not cow, nor does he look to drugs to help him face his issues. He walks up to them and stares them straight in the face and shows no fear. Act 4 is all about regaining your power and reasserting yourself in the face of your issues, and not succumbing or folding to bad habits that only strengthen your demons and make you weaker. Each of the acts and their topics are reflected in the production as well, meant to match the feelings and thoughts and overall vibe. Act 1 and 2 embrace a new sound as Cudi is back to doing the same things, but in a new day, so it makes sense to embrace the new sounds. There are trap drums, and the hooks and songwriting is definitely Travis Scott inspired in some ways. This can be seen in songs like Sad People, Show Out, and Tequila Shots. I'm not saying Cudi is biting the new sound, but instead embracing it and putting his own twist to it. Plus, to be fair, he did inspire a lot of the new age sounds, so you could say he isn't able to bite since a lot of it is tied to his own shit. Going into Act 3, we see Cudi using a more different sound. He incorporates drum styles that are more reminiscent of the type he would have on his first 2 records, with songs like Mr. Solo Dolo 3, Elsie's Baby Boy, Flashback, For the Kids, and Loving Me. The sound, whether it incorporates new tropes or old, is still grand and spacious and out of this world. Songs like The Void and Lord I Know are a great example of this. and Cudi utilizes his grand, epic vocals on top of a grand production of spacious pads, melodies, and drums. Overall, this album sees Cudi continuing to return to form, facing his demons and offering hope to those who go through the same thing. He continues what he started in the first 2 records of the series and expands upon it, as you'd expect. This album is about facing your trials, going through all the bad and ugly, and then reasserting yourself against them and gaining strength and growing through it all. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content and analyses just like this. Be safe, loving, and prosperous. Peace.